Alright guys, so we finally have the Cam and Valvesprings. Quick little build advice lesson, words of wisdom, if you will. So I always talk about not going down the rabbit hole. Don't go down the rabbit hole of, well, I should really get these heads and then I'm going to do this, and then 5 years later your car is not done because you're worrying about which heads would gain you 5 more horsepower and selling and buying. I did that with this cam. I was going to buy this cam because it's super cheap. It's a nice, like, not too wild, not too mild cam. It'll work great. And somebody was like, no, you should get a cam with this much lift and it'll be a little more power since your car's going to be an A and this and that and this and that. And I was like, all right, you know, I'll look into it. And then that meant that I couldn't get the super cheap valve springs, and I was looking into that. And then I just kind of stopped looking into it. 2 weeks later, I hadn't even ordered a cam. So we've been sitting here making no progress for 2 weeks because I was worried about which cam to buy. So I said, screw it, I'm gonna buy the cam I wanted to buy anyway because this cam was 230 bucks. The valve springs are like 120, I think, 120, 130. It's the Sloppy Stage 2. If you watch Sloppy Mechanics, you're probably familiar with what this is. So it's 575 lift on both intake and exhaust. What's the duration on it? 220 intake, 224 exhaust. So it's not crazy, but it's definitely gonna have a nice loopy idle, which I want, and make some decent power. So we're gonna be installing the cam, the valve springs, the Trunion upgrade, all today. That's the plan. I've never done this before, so should be interesting. It looks fairly easy. Also, you guys might notice my garage looks a little different. I reorganized my little side of the garage. I got this, let me turn this light off. Yeah. Got this nice Milwaukee box. I'll go over this more later because we don't have a lot of time because we got a lot to do today to this motor. But I wanted to show you guys this because I posted on Instagram and you guys are asking a bunch of questions about it. I'm really hyped. Like, look at how my OCD organization is very satisfied right now. And then I'll show you the wrench drawer too. Again, we'll go over this more later, but I will put the link to it below to everyone who is interested in it and asking me questions about it. It's a really nice box. Like, this is the coolest part. The soft shut doors. Ready? It's so good. Okay, time to get started. All right, we're gonna go ahead and pull this intake manifold off because I'm not gonna be able to use it. I'll explain that in a later video, but basically clearance issues, it's not going to fit. My buddy was nice enough to offer to take it back so I can get just a standard LS1 intake, stock fuel oils and stuff. We're trying to keep this budget, and with this I was going to have to do expensive aftermarket rails, and like I said, I want to keep this as budget as possible so that anyone can replicate this. So now what should come next is, oh yeah, crank pulley, which I have the puller for. This is my perfect opportunity to test my new big boy high torque impact. I haven't played with it that much, but once I do, I'll get back to you guys. So we're set on 2. Let's put it on 3. Just make sure we get her off. Oh yeah. Like nothing, like it's butter. Got this super awesome Jegs $30 crank puller kit. I'm pretty sure you can rent this same one from like Advanced or O'Reilly's. It's the, which one is it? The Chrysler one, I believe. But this is the one you want for these. For the truck ones, we take the longest rod here. We're gonna use that. Oh yeah, definitely need that long one. Okay, let's get the right socket for this. Too far. So you just hook the jaws on the back lip there. Oh goodness, this can kind of be annoying. Try to hold them together. All right, we're not gonna impact that off. We're gonna do it with a ratchet the proper way. Come on, baby. Glasses are falling off. Winded. There we go. Ta-da! Okay, so now we're going to take this steam port setup off that I tried to make because we have a solution for this now. which I'll show you guys when we get to the accessories. Finding cover. Oh, that was easy. Bolts on the bottom. Oh, these oil pan bolts hold it in. And one thing I was worried about was whether or not we had the 3-bolt cam. I wasn't sure if this was a new enough motor to have the 1-bolt cam. It is not, so we are good there. Oh, we need 3/8 for this. So you can lift this whole tray out without taking them all out individually, just like that. Ta-da! We got the push rods. It doesn't really matter. Like, some people will tell you got to number these and put them back in the same spot to make sure they wear evenly, but it really doesn't matter. You just want to make sure that none of them are wearing super weird. These all look great. They look just fine. Zip this side off real quick. Power tools make everything easier. Oh, we left one tight. Alright. So another quick wrenching lesson of the day is I hate disorganization, clutter, and all of that, and you want to keep things when you're taking them apart and putting them back together at the same time, and especially at a later time. You want to keep everything really organized. So I'm going to move some stuff around and make this area where I can kind of keep everything together, like, you know, this side with these push rods, this side with these push rods, all that stuff. So we're going to clean this up real quick. Alright, so we've got this sorted. I just thought about it, and there's like no huge reason to keep these in a nice place because I've got to take these apart and do the Trunion upgrade to them. So yeah, we're going to do that. Alright, so I'm kind of at a crossroads right now. I need to do the Trunion upgrade, which requires taking the bearings and everything out of those rocker arms, putting new bearings in and all of that. It's going to be a tedious, time-consuming process. So it's that, or go ahead and swap the cam and the valve springs in this and do that after. Trying to decide what to do first. It's always good to get the bulk of the work done first. That way, if you get stuck on a tedious part and I'm having trouble getting the bearings in and I end up spending 3 hours doing it, this is all done and this doesn't end up waiting for another day. So we're going to do the more important part first and go ahead and knock this out, and then we'll worry about the rocker arm Trunion upgrade. Okay, so what we need to do now, put this bolt back in, run it down, turn it over to top dead center, which I'm not 100% sure what markings. Oh, it's that marking. Okay. It's about right there. Make sure there's no more markings. I mean, it would make sense. So there's a little circle, like dyed into the, or cast into the crank gear, and then there's a circle here on the cam gear. Line those two up together. Do a quick Google search to verify that's what I'm supposed to do. Alright, it looks like that is what we were supposed to do. So I'll pull this guy off. Pull this guy out. Pull this guy out. Hang this guy over here, even though it's going to flip over when we flip it upside down. Now I take the cam plate off. Also 10 mils. One glorious thing about the LS, well, there's many, but literally the whole motor consists of 8, 10, and 15 mil. There might be one other size in there, maybe like a 13. Oh, something just fell. What was that? I don't know. So now we're going to flip the motor upside down. This is going to keep the lifters from falling down when we pull the cam out, which is not fun. Just tilt her upside down. Somebody told me that I should have aligned this with the cam, and it would be way easier to turn the motor upside down because it would be balanced. It sounds like a really good idea. So if you're putting an LS on a stand, try it. Let me know if it works. We're going to consult our Sour Power bolt box. Another sloppy trick. Take the water pump bolts, which are these guys, these long 10 mils. Are these 8? No, that's 10. These long 10 mils, and this will give us like a handle, you'll see. Alright, see if we can get this a little more out of the way here. Got an idea. Check this out, how's that for ingenuity? I know this is the right bolt, why is it not going in? There we go. Boom. Timing chain holder. Alright, so we thread these in. Again, these are the water pump bolts. And what this is going to do is give us something to grab onto while we're trying to pull this guy out. Don't need to go crazy with them. So spin it around. Just kind of work it on the way out. Oh, getting a little hairy. It's kind of like a routine of up, down, left, right. Spin it a little. Don't want to be forceful. Nice and slow like. It's mainly getting the cam journal to go through this. Ta-da! Okay, so what we're gonna do now, we're gonna put this on the bench. I mean, we don't really need to, but we're gonna take a look at all of these lobes and see if any of them have like major damage, and that'll tell us if we have a damaged lifter and if we need to pull the heads off. We're not supposed to look at our cam bearings because if we do look at them, that means they'll be bad. So, just gonna check the cam. Everything appears to be good, honestly. I don't see any. It's definitely really noticeable if you have an issue. Like it'll be super pitted where metal just melted to itself and all of that nonsense. So I think we're good on that. So I'm not gonna look, but I will show you guys what it looks like in here. Those of you who haven't seen it. So see those little roller looking things on the side there? Those are the lifters. That's the roller for the lifter. Then the big circles obviously are the cam bearings. And that's why we tilt it upside down, because otherwise they could just fall poop, and it'd be gone, and you'd have to take everything apart to fix it. So don't want to do that at all. Okay, time for the new cam. Where is it? It's over there. So here's our new cam. We're gonna lube this bad boy up. Lube on it, but we're gonna put a little more on just to be safe. A little more on. Get it? More on. I thought it was funny. Okay. Assembly lube. Main reason we're concerned in doing assembly lube is because you know this motor's not gonna be running in the next week, so we want to make sure it has enough lubrication for it sitting there for a month or so while we get everything else together. It's gonna be really tricky moving the camera while my hands are covered in assembly lube. The struggle with an automotive YouTuber. Story of my life. Struggle bus. Struggle city. Oh man, I need to lower it too. Yeah. Oh, there you go. There you go. You're dropping. Oh, got assembly lube all over everything. Oh God, I'm tipping. Hold on. Oh, I got it all over the legs. Okay. All right, let's see if I can tilt you down. There we go. Zoom in. Pacha. Okay. All right. Okay, so same process going back in. Lift it up. Twist. One more twist. There we go. Okay, this is where it's gonna get tricky because we got. Oh, never mind. Got it. Wow, that was relatively painless, honestly. I think it'll go about right there. I need to put the cam plate on. Clean my hands. This is disgusting. Oh, I'm pretty pro at this now. It's a motor rotating situation. Alright, so. Cam plate. Oh no. Alright, so we throw these guys in. We'll run them in with the electric ratchet, but then we'll actually tighten them by hand. They should be around, these are 10 mil bolts, around 20 foot-pounds, 22. Okay. It's always terrifying tightening anything into aluminum. Oh man, it's so scary. Okay. Now on goes the leg cam gear. Take our keep the chain away bolt out. So I guess here we're just gonna try to get this thing back on in the same orientation that it needed to be in. Should be about right there. Should be able to spin the cam over a little bit. Does that line up good? That's just as lined up as we were before. Cam bolts. So now we're going to spin it over and just make sure the timing marks line back up. Yeah, that's dead on. One more time, just for good measure. Ta-da! Cam's installed. Hooray! I'm really happy with that because I've never done this before, so it was a little, not concerned, but it was just the unknown. Am I going to run into issues? Am I not going to be able to get the cam out? And if so, what do I do? But you got to remember, just do it. It's nuts and bolts. At the end of the day, that's what my friend Elliot always said. Literally, just nuts and bolts. So you take it apart, you can figure out how to put it back together. Should be good. So cam is in. I have a problem. I need to take the valve springs out. To do so, we put air into the cylinder, holds the valves up, and then we can take the valve springs off. But our air compressor has been broken for months, so I'm gonna have to go buy an air compressor, which I really didn't want to do, but well, we saved money on the cam. I guess we spend that on an air compressor. So here's the problem. I was gonna go to Harbor Freight and get like the $120 cheapo air compressor because I only use it to like air tires up and do stuff like this. I don't have any air tools. I have all electric tools. I basically have thrown all my air tools out. But I wanted to go get some tools. Fortunately, I limited myself to only buying a knife and some razor blades, but I was gonna get Milwaukee impact and drill set because I want to give my friend my DeWalt stuff and have matching Milwaukee stuff. But I held off. I resisted temptation, but I did end up buying way too expensive of an air compressor because it's supposed to be super quiet, which we will see if it actually is super quiet. One of the main reasons I don't have any air tools is I hate listening to air compressors running. So if this one is quiet, it will be well worth the money, and for the video's sake, not having an air compressor howling in the background anytime I need to use it will be worthwhile for you guys, so you don't have to listen to an annoying air compressor. Okay, a moment of truth. That's not quiet at all! I mean, I guess it's not that bad. My ears were right by it. Okay, so here is our way too expensive for what it is valve spring remover tool. So basically this is going to bolt onto the head and then push down, and you're going to get the keepers out, back it off, pull the valve spring out, swap it, press it, put the new one on. So this is just to compress the spring. Got the awesome paper towel wrap. Sure sign of quality. So this is just the stud, which goes in, and then you tighten this down to add the tension. But what Matt did is he welded a bar on here, and that gave him the leverage to it. Let me show you what it looks like on the head. Push this guy in here, this threads in to here. You would tighten this nut down, and then as you tighten that down, it brings this down against it. But what we can do is weld a bar on here, and that'll allow us to pivot this and push down so we don't have to rely all on the compression threading down into here. So I think, you know, that should be right. So we'll just weld this thing on here. This is what I have lying around. So we're gonna TIG weld it just because I already have all my TIG stuff set up, so why not? First we need to clean this off. Pick the less crooked side. So we've added a bit of a chamfer here. Probably way too much of one to actually do anything, but that would be to get essentially more weld on there. But anyway, this is not a big deal. It's not a crucial part. It don't matter. Well, that's what it looks like. Not terrible. You can kind of see where I stopped for the tacks. But it's not bad. It'll do. It'll hold. I might go over that spot right there real quick. Alright, so this is what we're going to use to keep the valves up. So this is our setup. We've got this guy from a leak down tester that doesn't want to thread in because it's all wobbly. 1 second, technical difficulties. Well, that took way too long. Alright, so that we got the air compressor set at 50 psi, so when we plug this in, it'll fill the combustion chamber with air, holding the valves up, keeping them from dropping down. So we're gonna go ahead and just start doing it, I guess. I'm just gonna thread this as far down as it'll go, that way I have maximum thread engagement. There we go, this is working. Bend it down just a little more. Okay. Loosen this up. Ta-da! Valve spring out. I'm gonna put the new ones on. For those of you wondering, these are packed 1218s. They're like 130 bucks shipped. Ordered them on good old eBay. I think they're good for like, what does it say? I think they're good for like 600 or 610 lifts, something like that. And they're cheap and they work. I am on the struggle bus right now. Maybe this needs to go like that. No, that's not right. Put it like that. Got one in. There we go. Oh, struggle street is over. Oh, come on. Well, that's one down. See if I can do the other one with any bit better of a pace than that. I'll be honest, I'm an honest man. I admit my faults. I totally forgot to turn the air compressor on at first. We are lucky that I brought the piston all the way up to the top, so when the valve dropped down a little bit, it didn't fall all the way down into the cylinder. There we go. That was much easier. I don't like that I keep unthreading the stud. Oh, I guess it's still pretty in there. Trying to hit the valve again. Right. Tighten her back down. Need this to go further down. I think the trick is to start with it pulled down this way, so that when it inevitably slips a little bit, it slips back into the right spot, and when you pull down, you're bringing it back at the same time, so. Okay, that's like as far back as I can go without hitting the valve. Okay, let's see if that. See if we can get one in. We'll get this side in. I guess you just kind of have to manipulate it as you go down. So like pull down and then push over to the side and then there we go. Yeah, so you just kind of like pull it around. So far, I don't want to say that, but this is not too bad. Not too bad. This part of this tool is definitely handy. You don't have to like just jam the thing all the way down there, and then you can like push down, over. Definitely glad I just did this off the jump. Alright, this is pretty monotonous and tedious, so we're going to do a good old time lapse. All right, we are done with the valve springs at least. Looks nice. They look almost the same as the stock ones, but this side you can really tell the difference because everything was so black and crusty. And now it's got pretty valve springs, Pimp UGK, International Players Anthem in the background. Please don't copyright me. Okay, so I need a new timing cover gasket seal because this one I just like touched this rubber and it's, see, like I just tore it off, barely touching it. It's like rock solid, so I'm gonna replace that so we don't have to deal with it. I don't think I'll, maybe the front main seal, I don't know. I'm not gonna get too crazy with it. So now, Trunion upgrade. Woo! This is gonna be probably the least fun, but we got everything else done. Like we talked about earlier, that's what's important. Getting a bunch done, that way, oh jeez. That way you're motivated to continue. We had started with the Trunion upgrade and had a ton of issues. We might have never even got to this stuff tonight, so this stuff's all done. So if the Trunion upgrade's a pain, it's a pain, doesn't matter, it's the last thing we gotta do, and then the rotating assembly is complete. So that's the way to do it in my opinion. Everyone has their own workflow. I don't know what to do with this stock stuff. Just throw it away, I guess? Okay, so here's what we got. Basically, in here, there's a bunch of needle bearings. I don't know if they're cageless bearings. I don't know. Apparently, at high RPMs, people have issues with these like exploding apart and the bearings going on in your motor, and obviously a bunch of metal pieces sucking through your oil system is not ideal. So this is the Comp Cam's Trunion upgrade. I probably would have been better off with the brass bushing one, so it replaces the roller bearing with like a brass bushing. But my friend had this one for 50 bucks. I wasn't even gonna do it, but it comes with new bolts to replace these bolts that hold it to the motor. Allen's. I don't know how I feel about that, but just make it more annoying to take apart. Here's the new like center cartridge pieces. And then here are the new bearings, which are still needle bearings. So I don't really know what the massive upgrade is here, but we're gonna do it because we bought it. Here's the clips that hold it all together. I'll show you guys how it goes together when we get to that point. So the first thing we gotta do is take all of these apart. So we'll start there and then we'll get to the assembly part when we get to the assembly part, I guess. Logic, right? I use it sometimes. Okay, so we have a 1/2 inch 7/8 socket, which will sit right over here. we're actually going to put it on, yeah, this side. And then we have a 3/8 9/16 socket, which will sit over here and kind of just push everything out. So basically what's going to happen is, dang planes, I swear every time I try to say something. What's going to happen is this is going to push this whole center cartridge deal with the bearings and everything. It's going to push it through, and this is going to catch it. And this is, oh god, this is what's, you know, holding the rocker so that this can actually push through into the center of this socket. So we're going to do that. Is that it falling out? Oh, we might be in for a hurting, guys. Shoot. Son of a bee. No, maybe not. Maybe not. It might be good here. Oh, jeez. There we go. Alright, we gotta catch it because it's probably gonna pop here in a second. Yep, there it goes. Easy as that. Oh, we didn't get the bearing out on this side. Oh, it's okay. Got it out now. So, that is what the bare rocker looks like. Show you a little closer. Yeah. Focus. Alright, so, yeah, that's what the bare rocker looks like. We're going to put the Trunion stuff in here. So I'm going to go ahead and knock the rest of these out, and then we'll move on to the putting the Trunion part in. Alright, we've got all of them done. I will say it was a lot easier than I thought it would be. It went pretty quick. I was afraid that the vise was going to break the whole time. It has to be like right here. And I think that's pretty much the end of the threads. It's got a ton of play. I don't know how it did it. Fortunately, I think it's a bit further in when we're doing the actual Trunion. Oh, but it doesn't want to go in now. Uh-oh. I might have broke the vise. Maybe not. There we go. We got past the hard spot. I think it's a lot closer in though. It's probably somewhere around there. So it should be good. Okay, so this is the earth. No. 2 washers, right? This is basically taking place of our sockets. We got the rocker arm. So the first thing we do is we take this bearing, and you'll see, let's see if I can get this thing to focus on my hand so I can show you. Focus. I don't. Okay, see how that side has letters and it says USA and stuff? And this side does not, right? So in the instructions it lists as crucial to install it with the letters facing out. So the first one, we're just gonna put, I'm just doing it on the wing side first on everyone, just to be uniform. I don't think it would really matter. So you kind of want to get it set in there straight, which I just did a terrible job at that. But it's very important that you get this thing straight when you put it in there and you start pressing it in. Otherwise, if it goes in crooked, you're gonna have a bad time. So what I did on the last one is I just kind of got it started by hand. Just kind of pressed it in enough to where it was snug. But that doesn't seem to be working on this one, so we're gonna have to just press it in with the washer. So that's going in straight. So we're just gonna tighten this down. Move the camera so you guys can see. Okay, so we're just gonna tighten it down until the washer is flush against the rocker arm. You might have the urge to tighten more than this, but it needs to be flush. That's it. There's no need to go Hulk on it. Okay. So now that we got the one in with the words facing out, make sure, I guess that's crucial. So the next step, you take the center part. Doesn't matter which direction it goes. It's omnidirectional. I don't know. Then you take the other bearing, and it's the same concept. You want to get it started, but you don't want to, you don't want it to be crooked. So we're going to just get it started on the vise here, which we don't need the other washer just yet because all we're doing is getting this started. Point where you feel tension on it, Just like right there. Just makes it easier to line everything up at this point. So basically what we're doing here is we need to get this snugged up, but still allow, it's a very difficult process by yourself, I will say. So we need to make sure that this can go in and out of the washers, because it's going to protrude past them once we crush this bearing down all the way. So if it can't go into them, then it's not a good look. So it seems like we're good. I'm just gonna, I keep wiggling it as I tighten down. So it still moves up, and see it's seized up there. So, oh God, almost lost the whole thing. I did a way better job on the first one. All right, so that's going into that one. Oh, probably not anymore. Okay, now let's make sure it goes into this guy. Nope. This is, I'll tell you, this is annoying as hell. Nope. That's going into that one. Actually, this is a good way to do it. You just bring it up just above the lip of the vise. Then you can see that it's going into both of them. It's still getting tight. Tighter than I would like. Okay, yeah, we're good. Yep, still good. And we do the same thing, just take this one all the way flush. Boop. As that. We come over here, take our snap ring pliers. Same on this side. I'm going to double check again that my bearings, the words are out. Yes, they are. I'm real paranoid about stuff like that. I always get ahead of myself and try to work faster than I'm thinking, or think faster than I work, and mess stuff up. Cool. So that, I mean, that's what it looks like when it's done. Definitely looks a lot beefier than it did before. So now we have, I've done one, so this is the second one. So we have 14 more to do. See you guys in a minute. All right, they are all done. That was a lot more annoying than I anticipated. I just kept, if you tighten it down just a little bit too much, even like what seems like flush can push it a little bit past, it seems, and it pinches the center, and then it won't spin. So I had to take a couple of them back apart to loosen them up a little bit, but they're all good now. I'm gonna reinstall them in the motor. Ta-da! Oh. Okay, this is the way it was when I took it apart. Based on the picture I took. Run them down with this. We're not gonna actually tighten them with this. We're just gonna run them down, tighten them with a ratchet. It's really easy to tell, like, when it's getting tight, when it's snug, when it's just spinning it still. Ace ratchet. These go to 22 foot-pounds, which I don't have a torque wrench that goes that low, but I also don't want these to back out. But I don't want to cross-thread them. It's a sliding scale of emotions. Back it off, or tighten it till it strips, back it off a quarter turn. I've stripped so many fasteners in my life that I kind of err on the side of not tight enough as opposed to too tight. For anything into aluminum at least. Okay, that side's done. Alright, so we've got the Trunion upgrade done, the PAC 1218 valve springs done, the Elgin cam. Basically the rotating assembly is complete. Also, this is why we upgraded. So see all these needles? So look at this. This is one of the bearings. So it just sits in this race. It comes out, and then all the bearings just fall off of it. The new ones are caged, so essentially there's like a little housing for these rollers so that they can't just fall out like this. Like just. So that's the reason for the Trunion upgrade. Alright, I'm very happy with the progress today. It was something I'd never done before, so I was a little bit like anxious to get it done, just to see, you know, what challenges I ran into. If you've never done something before, you don't know like all the little nuances, but it went super easy. These motors are really easy to work on. It was a full day's work, but it was a very relaxed, slow paced day's work. Had to go get an air compressor, all that stuff. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys are as hyped as I am. Like, the rotating assembly is together. I've got a couple more things to get for the oiling system from Improved Racing. I'll have to pick those up next week. So in the meantime, we're going to pull the motor out of the Miata and clean up the engine bay and the wiring, and potentially test fit all the accessories on the motor, which we can probably leave on when we do the oiling stuff. Once we do that and the oiling stuff, motor's ready to go in, and we got to cut and do a bunch of stuff. But okay, so I guess I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.